Thank you, Mike. First of all, I want to thank Cynthia, John, and Patriot Freedom Project and Eagle Forum for sponsoring and establishing a Weaponization Watch, and Veterans Leadership Fund that I chair is proud to help support that. And thank you for the invitation to bring the military side of this weaponization that's happened to the American people by not only our government, but all of our institutions across the board that each person in this room probably once trusted implicitly. You know, the big highlighted issue right now on the military side is the COVID-19 vaccine order that was issued by President Biden and followed through by then Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, but it turned out to be unlawful. And that's a big subject today because there is still an attempt and continued attempts to weaponize the department, what is now the Department of War, against not only our military members, but the American people itself. I'm sure all of you have heard of the seditious six that are calling for disobeying orders that are lawful in the United States Armed Forces today. That is just another version of what we saw with the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. And the reason why I'm very happy to be here today is that the current president and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth have issued orders to reinstate somewhere between 85,000 and 100,000 young Americans that were either court-martialed or separated from the service involuntarily or forced to leave because of this unlawful vaccine order that occurred. As a matter of fact, they have had some limited success. Captain Mark Beshaw, who was a U.S. Army officer, the one officer that was court-martialed and convicted, in my opinion, was pardoned by the president and has come back to the service and was recently promoted to the rank that he should be holding today. So that's good news. The bad news is the bureaucrats that are in the Pentagon and the service departments continue to resist that order and continue this weaponization. How are they doing that? They chose a bureaucratic process called the Board of Correction of Military Records to bring people back in. That's why even though the initial order was issued in February of this year, less than 100 individuals have been reinstated to active service. And these are individuals that chose to do the right thing and stand up and be counted when it was very, very difficult to do that. That's why they're mostly in civilian clothes today, because the institution forced them to leave in one way or the other. But we want to see them all back in because of their talent to make decisions under pressure that are the right decisions. That's what we need in the United States Armed Forces. And the reason that is important is that less than 100, come on, ladies and gentlemen, when we have almost 100,000 people by a lot of estimates that need to be back on active duty so they can be fulfilling the orders of the President of the United States in the national security space, not only here domestically, but overseas too, in a lawful way, we need them. So what do we need to do? An organization I've worked with for many years called Stand Together Against Racism and Radicalism in the Services, or STARS, has sent a letter to the President's office and to the President himself back in June asking for blanket pardons for all of the individuals harmed by this unlawful order so that they can bypass this bureaucratic system that's being used against Secretary Hegseth and President Trump's order and preventing people from coming in, and allow them to all be reinstated en masse. And that's an unusual move, but we have asked for that. We've also sent copies of the letter to the Pardon Office and the Department of Justice to see if we can make some headway there. But we would certainly appreciate everybody's support here to reach out and contact your representatives and help share this show and this event here so that we can continue to get that word out, because most Americans don't realize just how bad the weaponization of the Department of War has been, against not only against our military members, but against U.S. citizens too. Thank you.